everyone, so I am here to talk about this foundation today. It's the Smashbox Always On Foundation. The shade I have is F10W. Way back when I reviewed this one from Smashbox, the Studio Skin in 0.1. As you can see from these, they're different undertones, but they're also different shades depth-wise. This is definitely darker, and as far as I can tell, they do not have something as light as this. So let's take a look at the swatches, see how it compares to other things in my collection, and then we can talk about it a little bit more. All right, swatches. This is the original formula of the Smashbox Studio Skin in 0.1, which was the lightest shade. So it's a pretty different undertone, obviously, than the one I have, which is a yellow warm undertone. I don't know. This is just what I have. 0.1 is good shade match except for the undertone. So this is the F10W from Smashbox in the Always On foundation. A couple drugstore options this time. This is the e.l.f. Soft Glam foundation in 12 Fair Warm, which is, I think, just a smidge lighter maybe. One of my favorite, no, not one of, my absolute favorite formula and undertone, although not, I wish it was a tiny bit lighter, is the Lancome Tiny Doll Ultra in 095W. Here's the other drugstore option. It's the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear. Great formula. I think it's fragrance free now, which would be awesome, because this one is not. And this is in shade 390 Snow. Is it Snow or Pearl? Pearl's the 400. 390 Snow. 390 and 400 are extremely similar. You can only barely tell them apart. And lastly, for something a little bit also on the lighter end, that's still yellow undertoned, which is what works for me. This is the MAC Studio Fix Fluid after they redid the colors, and this is NC5. The original NC5 was very dark, and this one is light. All right, so as you saw, it's pretty dark, and on my face, I feel like it's, depending on the lighting, either it looks fine or it looks kind of like weirdly pinkish, even though it has what seems to be a fairly cool yellow undertone. I don't know. This, it's like Schrodinger's foundation. Is it too dark? It's too dark and too light at the same time. I don't know what's happening. It seems yellow and then it's not yellow, and what is happening when I put it on my face? So this is like the third time I believe I'm recording this video, just because I've been struggling with it. I'm trying to prep my skin way more than I normally need to for my regular foundations that I like. I have tried just SPF that has worked as a primer for me, and I had issues with it going on difficultly. So then I tried just moisturizer. And today I tried moisturizer, a silicone SPF to hopefully help it spread a little bit better. And when I like walked outside for half an hour getting my kid from the bus stop, and it was kind of cold and a little bit windy, and I felt like my skin was a tiny bit dry, so I didn't want to cause more problems. So right before I applied it, I used the MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus setting spray, and this is not the one that's supposed to like set your makeup, I don't believe. They have two versions now, I think. This is just the traditional one. It just happens to have a scent, a cucumber scent, I guess. I don't know. I didn't buy this. It came as a gift with purchase type thing. It was still challenging to apply, though I do feel like it spread a little bit more easily with the extra moisture on my skin. I always apply with a damp sponge. I never have I don't use brushes. I can't use brushes. Either I use my hands or sponges. And I wanted the extra moisture to help with the spreading and the blending with the sponge 100% with this one. So you don't get a lot of product in one pump, but that's enough to cover my face for sure with the kind of medium coverage that I have going on here. I just got a little bit extra to put it under my eyes as well. And it's tempting to use more, but at least on me, on my skin, I'm 45, almost 46 years old. The skin on my face is really kind of, it's not, you know, firm and plump and tight and all that like a 20-year-old's. So certain textures will really exaggerate any sort of looseness in the skin. And things that are really dry, powdery, that will tend to accentuate it. And this looked really thick and heavy if I used too much product. And even when I only use one pump, it still leaned towards the end of looking heavy, even though I had a thin layer on my face. Even though it says it has skin balancing, hyaluronic acid and adaptogens, I don't know how this would wear on dry skin unless you like really prep it well. I just feel like it's one that doesn't easily, just as it stands, go on drier skin, because my cheeks and parts of my forehead are dry and the rest of it is more acne prone, a little bit more oily. It is the winter, so everything's a little bit drier. My cheeks are drier than normal, and my T-zone is also less oily than normal compared to like sweaty, humid summer. So I feel like for me, maybe this is something that would work better in the summer. I do feel like though it sets down really well. And I need to make sure not to powder it much. You know, by default, I tend to powder things, not my entire face, but a good portion of my face, just so I can avoid transfer. And this one, I really do the least amount of powdering possible. So I did my chin, my nose, like especially around where my glasses sit, and like right here, and under my eyes. And that was it. And I feel like it looks best if I can not powder it. I didn't use a setting spray. I have highlight on and blush and like a smidge of contour. So if you wanna come here. So I have creases here and it does not settle into them. It sits under my eyes, however, I don't know, so I had some, I think because this eye was watering so much, something happened under this eye, so it looks a little funky. But no creasing, so it's definitely one that I can use as concealer underneath my eyes, which is, you know, what I like to do. And I also have some lines up here and it's not settling into them. And so here I think is kind of the area where things tend to look really heavy, where I have more visible pores. You know, maybe a pore filling primer would help with that, but again, I don't like to do extra layers. So it has not gotten worn off by my glasses yet, which some foundations do right away. If I make sure to clean off the like nose bridge piece of my glasses, this will not move around underneath my glasses for at least a couple hours. I don't think anything is capable of holding up long term, but I feel like that's pretty impressive. Just it seems to set down pretty well by itself, and then on top of that, for specifically, especially in that spot, I will use my favorite setting powder, the NARS Light Reflecting Setting Powder Pressed. So it does feel, in the places where I did not set it, it feels dry to the touch, which is great, which says to me it's not going to move around. I do appreciate that. I like how it sets. It seems to be long wearing. I haven't worn it when I was like heavily sweating, but my eyes do water and it holds up to my eye like constantly leaking when that happens. Fine. So it doesn't break down, which is kind of what it seemed like was going to happen with this style of formula. So hard to apply, looks a little heavy, and the shade range is kind of a bummer. So not really a win on different skin types and textures and ages and whatever skin condition situations. I think it might look nicer, but for me, it's kind of it's not one I will reach for. So I think that's all I have to say about this finally. Let me know if you've tried it out, what color you used, if it worked for you, didn't work for you, if you used the old formula, and you know, comparing the two, how you felt about them. I would love to hear from you in the comments. That's the best part about doing these videos, is being able to talk to everyone in the comments. Hope you're having a good one, and I'll see you soon.